Thinking about leaving your soul-sucking 9 to 5 job, one of the biggest struggles I see people, especially as women, face is the idea of having that safety net, that enticing perks and benefits, and listening to that head trash of what will people think if I leave. I totally get it, and I've been where you are. That's why I created a free guide to help you if you're thinking about putting in that notice. It's called Unlocking Your Exit Plan. Discover 5 things you need to do before leaving your 9 to 5. This guide is filled with worksheets and steps so you will have hand holding along the way. You can download your copy in the link in the show notes, and again, it's totally free. Now back to today's episode. Hey there, let's face it. Today's internet world is so saturated and everyone is fighting for that number one spot to be visible. It is no longer about running ads and having thousands of people on your email list. It is about building relationships and networking with others to grow your business and become visible. Hi, my name is Candace. I'm a podcast launch strategist and I help service-based business owners develop and deliver their message to the world by using platforms like podcasting and bringing valuable content to those who need to hear what they have to say. Welcome to the Hello C.S. Dorsey podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Hello C.S. Dorsey podcast. I have Jonathan Tuttle here today on the show. How are you doing today, Jonathan?
I'm doing well, doing very good, even though it's freezing out right now.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. So tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Jonathan Tuttle. I've been an entrepreneur for probably about the last 10 years officially. I've got a few different businesses, a couple different verticals, but they all integrate together. I have most of my businesses are focused on digital and then commercial real estate in the niche of mobile home parks and mobile homes.
Awesome. So let's talk about the inspiration behind your business. What was that like for you?
I think because I grew up, my dad was he was a psychologist during the day, but then he had multiple businesses. So I saw him work. He had 3 different real estate offices when I was a kid, and then he flipped houses. My mom, they owned like a child daycare and just a bunch of different businesses. So I always saw like the entrepreneur like hustle and the work that went behind it. So I think I was kind of groomed as a child, playing in the offices instead of like in the playground. I mean, I had my fun, obviously, but I mean, learning to see, put in hard work and growing things. I think that's what got me into an entrepreneur to begin with.
That's awesome. So, quick question: why mobile homes?
Yeah, great question. It's funny you ask that because literally I'm 41 now, but 15 years ago when my dad got his first park, we got our first park together. I tell my friends, and we're like, early 20s, mid 20s, and they're like, "What are you talking about? Mobile homes?" Like, and this is like, Google's just growing up in like pre-Facebook, so everyone's just like, mobile homes is like so rare at this point. And everyone's like, that is the weirdest thing. I'm like, the major suburb in Chicago, there's no mobile home parks in the area. But we found out that they were the just supply and demand economics. So it really solves affordable housing, and it's usually a third the price of an actual house in the same town or half the price of a Class C apartment. And so I kind of understood that dynamic. And then with the last housing crash, we got in right before that. It was the only real estate that did really, really well. So that's when I saw that, I was like, kind of like, this is a niche I need to be in.
Yeah, we have a couple parks, mobile home parks around where I live, and they're always like on the market. And when we were looking for a home, I was like, oh wow, this price is perfect. But then when I look at it, I was like, it's a mobile home. Why why this price is so low for this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're
So
100% right. And if it's newer, the newer ones are really nice. If you see like a brand new one, they're like top of line. Like it looks like when you see on the TV shows where they come in, they put the granite, the laminate flooring, and like stainless steel appliances. Like the newer ones are like that.
yeah, it's almost like a movable teeny home, but bigger than the teeny homes that they have now. But it's kind of like in between like the teeny homes and the regular single family home. So it's kind of like a good middle for the mobile
Yeah,
homes.
there's actually a niche, and that's one of the things we're seeing is you kind of alluded right into it. There's a trend right now of like millennials, the younger generation. Once this pandemic's over, hopefully this year, or at least whatever, we get that solved. But we're seeing a lot of trends of millennials that aren't, 15, 20 years ago, it was like who could buy the biggest house. Now it's like, well, everything's online and digital. So people are downsizing. They want to travel more once everything opens back up. So we've seen a lot of trend, the tiny house movement. There's actually some of the newer parks. It's very hard to develop new parks. There's only about 10 in the last 20 years, which really, when you own it, it's like a rare asset basically. But a couple of the new ones I've developed actually had the tiny homes on it with amenities. It's kind of cool. There's some in Texas that have like that. So it's literally like you have your like amenities, like you're like in like a nice building, and then you have your little tiny home. That's your house, 600 square feet. So that's kind of like the next trend we're seeing.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Now, do some of the, I know some of the teeny homes that they have are movable. Are they making them, a lot of them now, to where as though there are like mobile, kind of like the mobile homes, or
The name kind of throws it off because when it first started out in the 40s, when mobile homes kind of first came about, it evolved from the RV and the trailer. But we officially, like, if you see most mobile homes, they never really move. It's like 90 to 95% wherever once they get to the location of that park, they pretty much never move. And then one of the reasons too, because it's been sitting there for 40 years. It's probably not a good idea to pick it up and, drive on the highway with winds and, pick it
yeah.
up and move it. So it's better to kind of keep it. So even though the name says mobile, majority, like 90, 95%, I don't know the exact stat, but it's in that range where they don't ever move. So, and we're very similar to the RV niche, and the RV niche is also blowing up right now too, with like kind of what we just mentioned. People work from home, and then a lot of kids are, working from doing everything online. So the family is like, there's been a huge uptick in RV dealerships. They're sold out they're like begging people for their used RVs right now because everyone wants to just work from home and travel the country together and staying away from the cities right now. That's like a huge trend right now.
So, can you remember a time in your business or starting out when you had a hello moment? So, like a light bulb moment that this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I think, well, I got in the worst time possible, like 2010, being an entrepreneur and real estate. Uh, some people don't, were in college or whatever, but at that point, but it was literally like the worst time to be in real estate. It was right after like the housing crash, and I was positioned to get into it, and I was like really excited. And then um, previously I was on BB. I don't know if you're familiar with the women's clothing. I was the number one seller in the country for like the last few years before that, and I was like ready to move up into real estate because that's what I grew up with, as I mentioned. And it was like really rough the first 2 years. It was like even the Chicago market, people weren't paying people on deals, or like I had a client one that was with a nice luxury listing in Naperville. It's a suburb outside Chicago, and literally the homeowner was like 400,000 below what it was, and this is supposed to be like one of the best, safest, places to live in the country, literally award-winning community. And the house went down 400,000 in value, so they couldn't even pay me on the fees or like the commission from the brokerage deals. So that's when I was like, all right, I need to create more entrepreneur type businesses, and that's when I started kind of getting into the digital side, and also really start focusing on investment. So I knew I had that safety and security, so I don't have to worry about just that one income. And if everything was not going well at that point, at least I had that backup income and that backup, momentum basically.
I think definitely during that time, everybody kind of, whether you were in like the real estate market or wherever, everybody had to like be creative during that time. I think during the the crash was like the best time that everybody creativity and developing their own, their own business, or either you're like doing things online or pivoting. I think that was the best time for everyone, even though it was a crash, but everybody like genius just all of a sudden came out because they're like, okay, I can no longer do this. So I gotta figure something out and I have to pivot. So I've noticed during that time, a lot of people and a lot of entrepreneurs and real estate agents as well got creative with how they
Mhm.
do business. And they can say that was a bad time, but I think that was the most creative time for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's kind of what we're seeing right now. It's the same premise where people are getting, jobs that were, and then companies are seeing, hey, that they're working from home. We don't have to probably have as many people because we could replace them with technology. And then people are like, well, I could learn from home. So we're seeing that kind of the same. It's usually what happens every time there's like a recession. It kind of makes people think, how do I reposition yourself? How can I be more creative? Like you said, how can I create more assets? And that's the best part about being an entrepreneur is like, you can control that. You just got to put the work in. You got to have the mentors. You got to listen to podcasts like this, fill your head with the right knowledge instead of taking that time as like a negative, take it as a positive and use those skill sets you learn and find new avenues to grow and find new, potential businesses to, acquire or build. That's the best part of like downturns. So you could really, like you said, I mentioned, just really recreate yourself and create something that's of value.
Yes, completely. I completely agree. So let's talk about how to find blue ocean opportunities and get ahead. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so Blue Ocean, there's a book. I think that is the name of the book. I read so many books. I don't, they kind of all merge together. I recommend the app Scribe. It's like $8 a month. They'll let you live. It's like Amazon, but it literally allows you. It says unlimited, but like I'm a power reader, so when I go to the gym or if I'm like doing stuff online where it doesn't involve like a lot of thinking, I just throw an audiobook. And that's a great tip for people too. Just I do podcasts and audiobooks, beginning of the day and end of the day. And then sometimes during the middle of the day is something to kind of keep in the back of my brain. So it's like I'm being productive. But that they throttle you after like 6 or 8 books a month. But that Blue Ocean book, basically what it was entails is talks about finding opportunities. Because right now, everyone has the same access to the same information. We could all Google the same stuff. We could all buy the same courses. But really trying to find your little niche or your offer, I think one of the things comes down to is how you position yourself. So, and just become an expert, mastery. There's a lot of people, everyone can position themselves as like something good and whatever they want to, whatever business they want to. But the problem is, and I see it too when I'm hiring new people, like I get people like a 2-week trial because they'll say they're great and then they they don't show up, especially everything's digital and like, it's decentralized. You have to, even though they have accountability and softwares and, Monday type apps and teamwork type apps, we could give them a list to do the work and then they don't show up. So one thing I'd say for people is just like going back to the Blue Ocean is position yourself correctly, become a master of what you want to be good at. So it's not just think of like Kobe Bryant, think of, LeBron, Jordan, like they literally master their crafts. Like if you put that time, find an offer, find like I call it riches are in the niches. So find opportunities where other people kind of overlook. Like if it's a little bit not as glamorous, like I like the mobile homes, I love that. It's same like self-storage, the same like RVs, like some of these weird niches is where a lot of opportunities. Everyone wants to go for the flashy. They want to create a YouTube channel and make it look all fancy with their hype video. But at the end of the day, everyone else is doing the same thing. So look at things that you could see that, hey, that makes sense or that serves a need. And it doesn't take a lot of people to, make a big impact or create a business. Find these little opportunities. How can you create an offer that appeals to the audience? Have a unique perspective on an offer. So like, and then maybe have some kind of money back guarantee if it's service-based or like satisfaction and, or just deliver at a high level. And then just build your team accordingly and then look for those opportunities. And that's where you're going to really find, because everything's online, but just find those little niches that are where the opportunity really lies. Because if everyone's doing the same thing, go the other way.
I love that. I got a little echo here.
No worries.
My mic is not liking me right now. But
No
I love that you mentioned that because that's what we gravitate to as far as like, well, everyone else is doing this and they're successful with doing this, so maybe I should try it. But in reality, it's so crowded. But it's like, it's one of the things, okay, if you're going to try it, how are you going to do it different? How are you going to stand out to be completely different from everybody else, and that's one of the things I love about podcasting. Everybody, has a podcast. I'm pretty sure there's people that are using it to monetize and have like thousands of listeners and everything. But for me, I use this as a networking opportunity, and there's a lot of people out there that do it the same way. But then I go a little deeper than that, and I say, okay, how are you going to use this to grow your business? How are you going to do this to create your tribe? And that's one of the things that I focus in, so I can be a little different from everyone else. Just teaching to use podcasting to create your influence and to grow your own tribe, because that's who you need. You need your own little your own little fan club, I would
Yep.
say, and you can do that by having guests and bringing people on and having them share their stories and making those connections. So it takes some time. It does take some time to actually really focus in and hone in on what it is that you want to niche down to, but kind of like keep digging and digging deep. And I'm so happy that you brought that out.
Yeah, and what you said is spot on too, because if you're familiar with like Russell Brunson, the ClickFunnels, he always says to have a successful $1 million plus business, it only takes 1,000 people in your tribe or your group. It doesn't take, you don't have to be influencer with like 50, 100,000, 200,000
That's
people.
right.
You just need 100,000, not even that, depending on your offer, but that are your biggest fans. And if it's a smaller audience, have different levels of service you provide them. Have something that's automated. We could create that recurring revenue or a course. And then you have the one-on-one, which could be high ticket for the people. So you serve people in every way possible. And the high ticket can really cover you. If you're the master and you have the team, or you deliver something they want, but they already know, like, and trust you because you provided value first. You put the brand positioning, you have a tribe, and then you also have the expert status because you have that platform. Use all that together and then serve people based on what they need. And that's a really great way to grow a business right now, because everything's online. So it's just put the work out there, use the platform, use your audience, and then see what they need and what you're good at.
Yes, I love that. And I love ClickFunnels too. I
Yeah.
follow us Brunson as well. Yeah, he's smart guy, definitely.
He took a lot of his stuff from Dan Kennedy. So if you really want to know where he learned a lot of stuff, because I'm 41, so I saw the original guys, the original OG guys, or Dan Kennedy. 90% of his stuff's from Dan Kennedy, and he's got some books out there. You get him on Scribe. It's like he always calls him the no BS guide to hiring, no BS guide to ruthless management. Like, he's straight to the point, but his stuff is like the marketing and the positioning. Dan Kennedy, he's not in the limelight as much. He's kind of retired, but for example, that guy charges like $1 million before he'll even talk to you. It's like crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. But he's literally like, he's at everything from Tony Robbins. Like, he's the old 80s, 90s guy. And he partnered up with Gary Halbert for the copywriter. Because, like a lot of the stuff online, it's like the videos and then it's the copy. So you have the copywriter has a really persuasive, emotional copy with a big, bold promise. And like, here makes you feel really engaged when you read the copy. Like, oh my gosh, if I could do this, like you said, oh, this must be easy. And like, they make you envision what your life's going to be like after, not where you're at right now, by using their software or whatever service you have. That's another tip too. Put that in your copy, as long as you can deliver. That's the key thing right now. We're in the biggest point right now where mastery is going to dominate, and you can scale with like digital and podcast and like your social media. Just deliver on your promise. That's the key.
Yes.
If they don't have promise, then they don't deliver, then that's not a good situation.
Yes, I completely agree.
And then you don't grow. Then your business kind of stagnates, and then you're just kind of like onto a new business.
Yeah.
We've all dealt with those people. They're not good.
Oh yeah. I used to be one of the people. Not as I say used to. I learned my lesson.
Yeah. Once you grow something, you get those relationships. You can do other ventures with them. So that's the key, and you'll see more opportunities. That's another thing too. Right now is that this is, I think, a big takeaway for somebody to listen. Like, right now is probably the easiest. Like, yeah, you could grow a business, but the fastest way to get in business is to buy a business. It doesn't mean you have to use capital. Just like real estate, you could use, it's called an SPV or SPV, special purpose vehicle, basically a legal entity. And you could use the cash flow of the business. So you have no money out of pocket, just pay the lawyer for the document. And you could use the incoming cash flow, and you could buy a business. It's great now. We know both in real estate and we also know in businesses, baby boomers are retiring, 10,000 a day. Also, so real estate, there's going to be the silver tsunami. Is basically, it's going to be the largest influx of used houses, and like especially the Sunbelt states, Arizona, Florida, where people are retiring. So it's going to be a lot of those people. They're going to go to like mobile home parks. Because the majority of retirees are, if they don't own businesses, they have Social Security, and then they have like 30,000 savings. So they're going to go to mobile home parks, maybe Class C apartments, and then the affluent ones will go to assisted living. On the other side of it, the ones that own the businesses, a lot of these people, 80% of businesses don't sell. So that's the fastest way to scale, is to buy a business that does 2 or 3 or 4 million, already has employees, but you use this legal structure, the SPV. It's basically like seller finance. Like everyone talks about seller finance, or who's got your money, or basically the same thing, or like a hard money, but it's like, instead you're using the business cash flow or business assets. taking that to pay for the down payment, and then you pay the owner over 2 or 3 or 4 years because they want to retire. And now you keep their key employees, have them transition over, 6 to 12 months, and then say, hey, I'm going to keep your legacy and your brand alive. We're going to keep our key employees, and then we're going to bring some new technology on top of it to scale it even more. And then we'll pay you from the cash flow. We already know what cash flows. And then you're basically buying a business ability too. That's the crazy thing. A lot of people don't know that. So they're like, by the time people listen to this, the whole GME stock, those they're not liable. They could lose everything. These SPV vehicles allow you to basically you could bankrupt the business and not be liable for a penny. So it's a really cool angle for people to really build wealth and create a business. So if there's something he's passionate about, like we're going after HVAC, but if you're, whatever business you're passionate about, go out there, go and buy some of it through an SPV or do a seller finance type deal. And so you can grow your business. Something you're already passionate about, instead of starting at zero, now you're starting at, already systems or process in place. It's already cash flowing. Now you have that cash flow and the equity. So
that's good to know. That's genius. I like that.
It's pretty high level. I mean, that's
yeah, it is.
For attorneys, and that's some pretty high level. A lot of people don't even know it. Like when I was looking for attorneys, they're like, some of the attorneys are like,
wow, yeah,
it's a great way to grow your income and net worth.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm going to record this and listen it again.
Yeah, SPV, and there's not a lot of stuff on Google. And when you call attorneys, like most of them won't. It's basically just a legal structure, and you have to get like a couple of them. One goes the positive assets. Anything that's kind of like negative, you put in another SPV. It's basically like a legal structure, like an LLC, but just a fancy LLC, basically. Yeah, so that's a great way for people to grow. Besides the tribe, besides the branding, besides the blue ocean, find these when the baby boomers are retiring. 80% are going to sell. So there's 80% of these businesses, and also too, like the ones that go on the when you're looking at businesses, like the ones that go on the business broker sites, those never sell because they promise people like, hey, we'll get you the real amount and it's in there for like 2 years. Look for ones on there for a long time and say, hey, we'll cover. You could pay them from when you acquire the business. You could carve it out and say, hey, we'll pay you from the revenue from the business. And then otherwise, the broker's going to say, well, no, I want to get the fee from you. Like, no, you get zero because it's not going to sell. We'll go right to the owner when your listing expires, or we'll get you a part of this, your choice. So you can find a lot of those like the business brokers, just like real estate, but for buying businesses. Real estate, there's like those, when some broker listed too high, it's going to get price reduced. New broker is going to come in, reduce it like X amount of dollars, and it's going to sell right away. It's the same thing with businesses.
Thank you for sharing.
Pleasure.
Now I'm gonna go online. I'm like, oh.
I mean, this is the time to do it. Like the people are going to retire, and then the people have energy. Like there's a way for people to create something for their family. They could do the online stuff. They could like Blue Ocean, like we're talking about. But they could also have that security and the blanket just by going out there and looking for these opportunities because they're there for you to take, and most of these are not going to sell. So a lot of times, like they just shut them down. Why would you shut down a $3 or $4 million a year business or $2 million or $1 million, and you're not even like you don't even have to put any money down? It's crazy. And if it takes you 50 people, it takes you 50 people to talk to. Who cares? You're not paying any money, just the time.
So, do you have any last minute advice for our listeners out there?
Yeah, I think we didn't really talk about the fun, but like mobile home parks, I think are a great niche. I think people should look into mobile homes. Like I have the Mobile Home Wealth Academy, which is my step-by-step course. I think people are going to look for new opportunities to grow and create wealth, and I think that's one of the easiest niche. It is the easiest real estate niche out there. You don't need a real estate license. It doesn't take a lot of capital. You don't have to. Like I woke up this morning, I had the Tarek and I forgot her name, the couple from California that flips like, oh, we had to put 150,000. I'm like, no, it's more. You don't have to do any of that stuff for mobile homes. Like it's literally the outside of the frame. You can't even touch the outside. Like you can't say, hey, I want to put a new door in, bigger windows, it'll collapse. So I think that's one of the easiest opportunities for people to grow right now is flipping mobile homes. It doesn't take, anybody could do it. Even if you're like 18, 19, I think that gives you an advantage. If you go up to the people face to face, if you drive through your local park, look for a FSBO for sale by owner's sign, most of these people, they don't want to list with a broker because a broker isn't going to show it. The broker is not going to waste their Saturdays for a $150 commission on a $20,000 mobile home or $15,000. They don't make money on those deals. So they don't want to do them. And then the people on the mobile home, they're like, I don't want to deal with brokers anyway. I don't trust them. So you come in and say, hey, I'll market it for you. You could do flip the contract basically and ads up in Facebook and Craigslist. They don't know how to do that. And if these kids that already know how to promote on social media, that's easy win. You could do the marketplace for free. Craigslist is small. You can boost it a little bit, but minimum to no work and just flip it. And I think that's one of the greatest like opportunities for people to get involved in real estate. And a small flip, depending on your market. California is huge. Florida could be huge money, especially the rent control states. But like Midwest or some of these like older 70s, 80s pre-HUD homes, you can flip them 5, 10, 15,000 profits. You ask them what they want. There's no MLS. So it's literally you just you market it better on social media. You approach the person, hey, I saw you're listing your mobile home, and then you just market it better, and you just basically arbitrage the difference. And also it does, if you do the flipping side where you fix up a little bit, it's really basic work, basically paint, clean, make sure the plumbing, this minor stuff compared to like regular house. But now you've created value and you can market it for we say never flip for less than $5,000. And it's literally 3 days work, 5 days work. So I think that's a great opportunity for people. We also have my fund, if anybody's a credit investor, we have, they want passive investment. Like you mentioned, parking capital, and you have your businesses, your day-to-day stuff. Midwest Park Capital, my fund, we basically do the quarterly payouts. The main thing with funds, any real estate fund, everyone's probably familiar with Grant Cardone. The really value to it is the tax advantage, the safety, and the equity multiple. So we know with all this money being printed in the last year, like 20% of the money is printed was last year. All of that means is everything, your purchasing power goes down. So how do you hedge against that? It means you have to make more money. So you need to make more money. And the only way to do that is having, some kind of leverage. And that's why commercial real estate, specifically mobile home parks, have the best tax depreciation schedules of all real estate, because the mobile home parks, especially in the West, the concrete, and when you acquire a park, it can be written off at 65 to 70%, maybe sometimes 75. So that utility line. So you get that and the bonus depreciation as long as it's still here. So basically your K1s, your tax return, you hedge against the taxes, and then over the course of 7, 10 years over in the fund, the tenants pay down the mortgage, which gives you equity, just like in a house. And then when you sell it, you have that multiple. So it's a way to give you 2.5, we're projected to like 2.5 return on your money on top of the cash flow. So I think people parking their money into like funds, like Midwest Park Capital is our fund, learning a course, doing the podcast, Mobile Home Wealth Academy is my course for that, but really just finding out new skills. And then when I just talk about the SPV, I think people should look into that, because if these businesses don't sell, they're just going to let them shut down. So it's a great avenue for people to, buy $1 million business with no money out of pocket, just like buying real estate, except now you have cash flow, and then you also have a business that's worth millions. Instead of flipping a house for, 20 grand or 30 grand, now you have a multi-million dollar business. So when you sell it, you put in some technology, make efficiency, and that's another way to, flip businesses too. So those are some tips I would recommend. People just kind of being real proactive, go out there, do the work, and just become a master of what your craft is, and, hire mentors, take courses, and just work. This is the perfect time. This last year, I didn't take any vacation except for January, obviously because of COVID, but I just doubled down. I think anybody that double downs now, learns, continues, evolves, the next 5 or 10 years, their life's gonna be way better than people that are watching Netflix every day. And yeah, we could watch Netflix, but if you're like literally binge watching every day, you're not gonna get ahead.
I agree, and I love me some Netflix, but even that has that time that I
Yeah.
yeah, I can't do it every day, all day. I have my
Yeah.
set time for the binge watching, and then it's time to move on to something that's constructive and concrete. So I agree with you completely. This has been really good. This has been really great. Like a little mini course all jumbled together.
I'm trying.
Yeah, I love it. So where can everyone find you?
Sure. So yeah, for the Mobile Home Wealth Academy, just out sound, Mobile Home Wealth Academy, and our price on that is going to be significantly less than other people, because I have the fund, I have other businesses, so I got to do it to make a profit, but it's like significantly cheaper than like the other competitive courses. And then on top of that, since I have the fund and been in the business for 15 years, I'm having a lot of like people that are exclusive speakers that are no other course out there. And we're literally going to do next month when snow melts and everything, we're going to actually do live walkthroughs, like step by step, in addition to flipping and wholesaling and all that. So I think it's a great avenue. Plus, we have a year money back guarantee, double your money back, plus $1,000 of our pocket. So that's how much confident we are in that. Some of home market. I mean, if people are accredited investors and they want a passive place to put their money and get the equity multiple, the best tax benefits of all real estate, literally, that's Midwest Park Capital. And then if anybody for digital marketing, I have my it's Revenue Ascend, and we focus on one client per month. It's usually pretty high level. We worked with some celebrity clients before, but we really just kind of do one of the things I'm doing now is kind of like either doing phantom equity or revenue share, or it's like a business that I really feel passionate about. I just lined up like a 5 practice location for health and alternative medicine. So I'm like, I do different niches as long as it's something I'm really passionate about helping people. So that's Revenue Ascend as well. And then Jonathan Tuttle on Facebook or Jonathan Tuttle on Instagram.
Okay, perfect. We'll link those up in the show notes, so everyone can definitely click and go directly to you. Well, Jonathan, I thank you so much for being on the show today.
Well, thanks for having me on. It was fun. Hopefully people
Yes.
learn some stuff and they can research some of that stuff. I think it'll kind of be eye-opening, some of those opportunities that are out there that most people don't talk about, and then take this time that we have to your advantage, with everything kind of being closed or, with the whole COVID situation, use this time to your advantage, grow.